I don't know where we start with this. First off, let me just say that it really didn't matter. If it wasn't going to be this thing, it was going to be something else where the forces out there will attack de Blasio from the right. Okay? Look at what some of these morons are saying. And I really do mean morons, okay? It starts with Pat Lynch of the New York Police Benevolent Association, one of the unions. Now, this guy's a moron, but understand he's also a stooge. Like, these guys, this is like clockwork for these guys to work like this. And frankly, I mean, if I was a cop, and I'm not convinced that a lot of cops don't feel this way. They're not going to say it out loud. But if I was a cop and I saw this guy exploiting the murder of these two cops in this way for his own political agenda, I'd be pretty pissed off. Here is Pat Lynch exploiting these two cops' murder for, I guess, maybe what he thinks is his bargaining strength, whatever it is.
There's blood on many hands tonight. Those that incited violence on the street under the guise of protest that tried to...
Who did that? Who did that? Nobody did that. Nobody incited violence. This guy who did this murder had just shot his girlfriend in Maryland. Before he murdered these two cops, he went up to bystanders and said, "Hey, follow me on Instagram." He didn't say, "Make sure you sign up to protest what happened in Ferguson. Hey, don't be part of the community and get involved. I'm going to go shoot some cops." No, follow me on Instagram because I'm insane. The guy has a history of, he's been in jail. I don't know. He's arrested 8 times, served jail time for, I think, 2 years on a gun offense. It's not like all of a sudden this guy was awakened by the protest and the killings. Well, it's not even the killings, right? It's just the protests of it. It's just the protests of the killing. And so he goes and he's going to shoot these two cops. And the last thing he says, "Follow me on Instagram." Continue.
Tear down what New York City police officers did every day. We tried to warn, it must not go on, it cannot be tolerated. That blood on the hands starts on the steps of City Hall in the office of the mayor. Starting today,
pause it. He's saying that the mayor has blood on his hands because why? He didn't allow other cops to go out and what? Baton protesters? Basically. This is absurd. Is this really? This guy speaks to the police in the New York Police Department? Are the police in New York Police Department applauding this guy? Because if they are, we got a much deeper problem. Continue.
Started the mourning for our brother police officers. Their heroes, their fathers, their brothers, their children. That's the men we lost today. So starting in the next couple of hours and going for a number of days, New York City police officers, through their sadness, will straighten their shoulders, stiffen their backs, and mourn for these families. We'll mourn for our city, and we'll mourn for our brothers. When these funerals are over, those responsible will be called on the carpet and held accountable. We ask every person in the city to bow their heads tonight and pray for our families.
So those responsible, they didn't catch the guy? The guy didn't shoot himself in the head? There's other people out there who are accountable and responsible for this? This guy, I mean, I don't know what he means by that threat.
I mean, it's sort of scary. Like, who are they going to take it out on?
But I can't believe the cops want this guy out there representing themselves. And here's the thing. Here's how you know this is bullcrap. Okay? This notion of like, oh, we're gonna, and you should be aware that the cops the families of the cops who were murdered, they want de Blasio at the funeral. Even though the union guys are putting this around. This is unprecedented. How could the cops ever disinvite a mayor to the funeral of any cops? When has this ever happened? Besides 1997, as reported by Stephen Greenhouse in the New York Times, with the indictment of union lawyers on racketeering charges and federal subpoena of union records, the 29,000 members of New York City's mighty Patrolmen's Benevolent Association might be expected to demand the scalps of their union leaders. But many police officers have turned their anger in recent months not on the union leaders, but on Mayor Rudy Giuliani. For instance, a flyer that some police officers are distributing among the ranks demonstrates the depths of their discontent. The flyer, resembling part of a will, says, I, in quotes, a New York City police officer, want all of my family and brother officers who read this to know that in the event of my death, Giuliani and police commissioners should be, quote, denied attendance at any memorial service in my honor, as their attendance would only bring disgrace to my memory. You see this? This is a tactic used by these guys. And it's bullcrap. It's bullshit. And they're making themselves look bad. This is not 1992. You can't be a cop, be on off duty, and go basically start your own riot and have people support you on it. Those days are over in this city. And these guys are just making themselves look bad. And I think, frankly, and to the extent that anything positive comes out of this, it is, I think, making people who weren't necessarily sensitive to the concerns of, frankly, the African-American community in this city who've been getting abused by the cops. I think it's basically woken them up to like the nature of some of and what may be very large elements of the police force and sort of the mindset that these people have. Because you don't go out there and say that the mayor has blood on his hands because some psycho decides to shoot two random cops because he wants to build up his Instagram followers and then blame it on people who are engaging in peaceful protest. There's a massive disconnect there, a scary disconnect. I think you talk about a backlash. I think that's where you're going to see the real backlash.